Good morning, team. Today we will discuss what are the controls to ensure the backups. All questions related to backups with the situational based, scenario based. Today we will discuss. So this is the question number one. Auditors may ask, you are an auditor. What controls you generally check to ensure the backup? Please explain with example. So first thing you need to always keep in mind. Let me just zoom out here. Okay. So first thing you always need to keep in mind what are the manned list in backup? What are the checklist? So first pick up the checklist like backup control exists or not. First you need to check control is properly implemented. You need to check control is working effectively or not. You need to check and evidences are available or not. So these are the four columns you need to work upon. Now for backup control policy, right? What to check? You need to check whether a company has documented rules for backups or not. Example, the policy says about the critical servers backed up daily, right? And retention is 90 days, restoration testing every quarters. So as an evidence, you need to check whether the policy is approved or not and SOP documents. Now, in this, what are the risks involved? Risk may involve if there is no standard process and backup may be inconsistent. Means if SOP document missing and backup policy is existing but not approved, then it may be a breach. So you need to highlight that risk as a backup risk. Second, backup scope coverage means what are the applications databases are covered in backup. You need to check whether all important systems are included in backup or not. Example, a company is saying that they have databases, they have applications, and they have file servers. So you observe that only file servers are backed up, not databases, not applications. So these are the control gaps. What are the evidences? You need to first request for the asset inventory. Why asset? Because from asset inventory, you have a clear idea that how many critical servers, how many critical applications, how many critical databases. So accordingly, you need to check what are the criticals existing and backup happening for those critical or not. It's your responsibility. Number three is backup scheduling. Sorry. So, in backup scheduling, whether backup is happening regularly or not as per the policy, right? Example, daily incremental backup exists at 11 a.m., 11 p.m. or whatever the time may be. Weekly full backup available on Hana Sunday. So you need to look from the evidence perspective that backup job scheduled and backup tools screenshots. What is the risk involved in this? If there is any missed backup may causes data losses. If there is missing in terms of backup job scheduler or any tools screenshot, then you need to highlight the risk. Fourth control, you need to check whether monitoring of backup is happening or not. Means whether failed backup are monitored and resolved. Why? Let's take an example. Backup failed for 5 days, but nobody checked. Serious finding, right? So evidences you need to check whether when fail happens, right? Whether alert emails pop up, whether it's reflecting in the monitoring dashboard or not, whether automatic incident ticket raised or not. It's your responsibility. Next control you need to check is a restoration testing, right? Whether organization actually test restoration. See, backup is happening, but restoration they don't have tested. So both have different things. Don't always assume that if backup is happening, then they can restore. No, restoration control is different. Backup is happening, that's fine, but restoration they are not testing, it's a breach. You need to highlight that risk. So this control saying this one, restore testing control, because successful backup does not guarantee successful recovery, right? A company takes backup, but restoration never they tested. During ransomware attacks, restoration fails. So what are the evidences you need to look at? Restoration test reports, screenshots, and sign offs. Backup retention. How long backups are restored? Example, daily backups retained for 30 days, monthly backups retained for 1 year. Retention settings, policies, documents. If there is insufficient retention, it may violate the compliances. This is the risk. Next is access control for backup. Means who uh, how many user list have access to these backups. So who can access the delete backups and access these backups? All IT staff have admin rights to backup console. This is a weak security because all IT staffs, why they have access and are not required. So the always good practice is saying that limited admin access, MFA enable to access the backup consoles and role-based access. You as an evidence, you need to look at how many users have access and RBAC configured or not. And you can also check the SOD example. Next is the encryption. Very important. Ensure that backup is happening in encrypted way or not. Example, backup tapes is stored unencrypted. If stolen, anyone can have a visibility on that data. So evidence is to check the encryptions, like you need to check the configurations part, right? Application settings. This encryption control is important from PCI perspective, ISO perspective, data privacy perspective, or security frameworks perspective. Offsite immutable control backup, very important. Whether backup are protected from disaster. How? Backup is stored in the same server as production. No, the production server would be different and the backup server would be the different. Don't store the backups in the same server of the production, because if server compromised, your backups also being erased. So this is the issue. What is a good practice here? You need to take a offline backup or other servers, right? For evidences perspective, you need to check the architectural diagrams and storage settings. Change management uh, means what? If there is any changes in the backup, these changes should be approved. Like retention changed from 90 days to 7 days without approval. For evidence perspective, you need to check how what are the change tickets, approval or not. For business continuity and a disaster, you need to check whether backup support disaster recovery existing or not. Check whether critical banking system should recover within defined RTO RPO. So these are the certain controls you need to check as a backup control, as a backup auditor. Here's the question number two. This is situation based. Or organization performed daily backup successfully, but restoration testing has never been conducted. What would be your finding here? Right. We already discussed as a sample before. So here the auditor to raise the observation, because although backups are running successfully, restoration testing not performed. So without restoration testing, organization cannot ensure that data can be recovered during an incident or a disaster. So auditor to recommend periodic restoration testing with proper evidences and management review. So, if backup is happening, does not guarantee that restoration would be successful. So, both have different controls. Backup also necessary to be successful, and restoration parts to be happen successful. So, two different controls are there. Auditors to check to check both controls on table. Here's the question number three. You observe that backup monitoring dashboard shows failure for last 15 days, 2 weeks. How, what would be your action here? So here the answer is, if I observe that backup fails are showing continuously for the last 2 weeks, I would treat this as important audit findings, because it indicates that backup monitoring and issue resolution process may not working effectively, right? First, I would discuss with the backup or infrastructure team to understand why the backup job failed, right? Whether the team was aware for the failure or not, right? Whether any ticket raised for that incidents or not, right? What actions were taken to fix the issue, right? Uh, from evidence perspective, you need to check the backup monitoring dashboard, right? Alert emails, incident tickets, escalation records, and root cause analysis, right? Now, from the audit perspective, continuous backup failures, critical Risk because important business systems data may not be recoverable during the server failure because they are asking that backup failed for the 15 days. Ransomware attacks or disaster solutions, if backup are failing for many days, the organization may face data loss or operational downtime and reputational loss as well. So auditors to check whether backup monitoring responsibility is clearly assigned or not, right? Daily reviews of the backup jobs is performing or not, right? Alerts are configured properly and management receives escalations for the critical failures. Now, auditors too mention that backup monitoring controls are not operating effectively because backups failures were not observed in a timely manner. So here's the recommendations from the auditor, right? Monitor backup jobs daily, investigate failure immediately, and maintain incident tickets and resolution evidences, and escalate critical failures to management and perform regular reviews of backup health reports. Here the question number 4. Production and backup servers were connected in the same domain. Ransomware encrypted both. What would be the best practice as per you? So the question is saying that production server and backup servers are same. It is not the best practice. So ideally they should be different. Here the answer is the production and backup servers should not be connected in the same domain or same network because ransomware can encrypt both environments together. As an auditor, I would identify that this is a serious backup security weaknesses. Best practice is to keep backups isolated using separate networks, offline backups or immutable storage, multi-factor authentication and restricted admin access should also be implemented for backup. Organization should maintain at least one offline or air-gapped backup copy and perform regular restoration testing. This helps ensure backup remains safe and recoverable during the ransomware attacks or disaster. So, the auditors are saying that the production and backup servers should not be in the same domain or in the network because if one if one subnet compromise, then it may impacts your backup data also. That's why, as per the best practice, right, it should be it should be stored either offline or air gapped backup copy. Here the question number 5. Backup tapes contain customer PII are stored unencrypted. What is the risk here? It is the biggest risk actually because here the customer PII data, it compromises the law. If it's UK reasons, then always GDPR breach. In India, it's a DPDPA breach because the data is unencrypted. So risk is very huge here. So if backup tapes containing customer PII are stored without encryption, right, there is a risk that sensitive customer information may be exposed if tapes are lost, stolen, or accessed by unauthorized persons. This can lead to the data breaches, identity theft, financial loss, legal penalties, and reputational damage to the organization. Auditor is saying that this indicates weak data protection control and the non-compliance with security standards such as PCI, ISO, etc. So auditor is recommending to encrypt backup media and restricting physical and logical access to access the backup storage part. Very simple. Here's the question number 6. Multiple administrator uses same backup admin credentials. What is the risk here? So multiple administrator have access to the backup. So first they need to check whether it's role-based access, and instead of using a common folder, you know common ID, it's recommended to use a individual user ID for a traceable purpose, right? Because shared admin accounts can increase the risk of unauthorized access, insider threats, and misuse of privileges, accountability issue difficult during forensic investigation, and a non-compliance. So, what is the best practice here, guys? Best practice is uh, you know the individual ID should be there, multi-factor authentication, right? Whether admin activities are logged and monitored, whether privileged access reviews are conducted periodically. Okay. Also, you need to check whether it's a role-based access and it should be separated unique user ID for access purpose. Because if you use individual ID, right, it is traceable, and it reflects the accountability also. Here's the question number 8. Regulations requires 1 year retention, but company retains only 30 days. What is the risk here? It is a compliance issue actually. It is a compliance issue because here the retention require 1 year as a legal one, right? But retains during audit retains only for 30 days. So this part, right? It is a compliance issue, right? So auditors findings is to highlight there that ground level things not aligned with approved policy, right? So it is a compliance issue, and a retention is different. If you have a legal reason, then it's fine, but if you don't have any reason and you are and it's a gap, you are thinking that it's a casualty, then organization may impact their operational issues, its reputational issue as well, and during ISO certification and PCI DSS, etc. Certificates failures also, right? So this is the one. Okay. Apart from this, guys, we are also provide the trainings for uh, GRC domains, right? What are the GRC domains here, guys? GRC domains, we are providing the detailed trainings in Archer for ISO 27001. Let me make it a zoom up little bit. For ISO 27001, right, we are providing training on third-party risk management. We are also providing the training on PCI DSS detailed one with implementation. We are also providing the trainings on data privacy part. You can calculate as GDPR, for example, and DPDPA, and for SOC 2 also, right? If you need any support with respect to interviews also, right, we are also providing the interview tips and interview preparation and implementation in Archer. Uh, if you need our support, then you can email me on grcdecode@gmail.com, or you can also call me on 9015997199. Don't forget to add the country code here. grcdecode@gmail.com and 9015997199. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.